We are so excited to be here. Meredith, it's always so great to do this with you. I love this so much because we're collaborating on a project that I started with someone back in 2023, no, 2022, 2021, anyway, on Pallas Athena. And then she passed, and you've come along to help expand and help me see beyond whatever we were seeing about all of that way back then and keeping it alive. So this is so good. And we are just coming into this amazing third exact pass of Chariklo and Pallas Athena together on December 19th. And there's so much to say about that. But as we're getting ready for that, we've got all these other things that are happening that with Pallas Athena in Aquarius, having just gone direct earlier in October, I think October 4th was when she went direct in Aquarius. And this cycle she was opposite the sun in Aquarius back in August. So this cycle lasts until October of 2026 when there's going to be another Venus opposition with Pallas Athena. This one will be a Aries cycle, that'll be an Aries cycle. But until then, we're in this Aquarius aspect of Pallas Athena. And it's interesting that because Pallas Athena is so much about the mental realm, she was born out of Zeus's head. We've talked about this before. And so she was the aspect of the feminine that was more of the intellectual, the brilliant intellectual aspect of the feminine. And that's really what Aquarius also is. So those two things are working together in such an amazing way. And also it's how we think and what we're visioning. And so what are our thoughts and how are we co-creating with what's happening? And with Chariklo being in the picture, and we're going to also talk about Haumea and how she's in this picture, and Venus and how she's in this picture. And as we speak and as we're creating this video, Venus is about to be conjunct Spica, one of the magical stars of the ancient alchemists. When they would make their talismans, elixirs, and potions was when planets were with those stars. And if you're up early in the morning, you can see Venus on the horizon. You might not see Spica, but you know she's there. And so, and she's a star that's really connected to the divine feminine as well. And so anyway, there's so many more things I can share about, but I'm going to turn this over to you, Meredith, because I feel like what you're going to share is going to get us to where we need to be, like give us the background we need to have in order to understand some of these bigger things that are going on.
Okay. Well, Pallas Athena, the archetype of this Pallas Athena in generally speaking is the archetype of number one. I'm going to pull out strategic thinking and of course, and also creative intelligence. So she this archetype, the potential of this archetype that exists right now with the energies is a challenge to see the big picture, have the objective bird's eye view, but get some skin in the game. It's time to get some skin in the game. So this, and to leave kind of black and white way of thinking, that very practical. She needs to dig into some practical wisdom and get out of her head and into her heart and into what is happening right now. Since this archetype is very much involved in supporting and protecting and the community so that it thrives. So she needs her this archetype is being asked to work with the squares that are being made to Aquarius. So we've got this big grand trine coming, and um,
It's pretty exact right now as we speak, actually.
yes, yes,
And it's going to last for quite a while.
yes. These are big energies. These are energies that don't just come and go. We will be informed by what's going on for quite a while. So when I was looking at that, I was looking at this archetype and I was thinking, so where does she get, how does she connect with this energy? Who is there to give her that challenging square, the most personal way of this archetypal energy to engage? And I thought, oh, that's right. Venus is going to be moving into Scorpio. And so what'll happen is there is that that square, Venus will bring the desire and passion into the mix and the impulse to, um, and of course, Venus is relational. So the impulse to um, meet the needs, take the ideas and have them relatable, have them move into um, the lives of the people that this archetype feels responsible for. So instead of just getting the bird's eye view, understanding, oh, that's what's happening, but I just don't want to be in the fray. It's just too, it's all going to play itself out because I see the whole big picture. No, we need strategic thinking now. We need creative intelligence. And so that's the importance of this archetype.
We
So,
could say that Aquarius tends to detach and it will step back and not engage. It can get that bigger picture view, but it needs to engage in order to bring that vision and that possibility into manifest reality. So Venus moving into Scorpio, because Scorpio is the energy or a feminine energy, she is the mistress of magic and manifestation. She is the one that is going to have the ability to bring it into a manifest form if she's passionate about it, if she feels inspired by what that vision is.
yeah, I'd like to paint a picture of where Athena is right now. She's left the city gates. She's uh, and behind the city gates is the Pantheon, and and it's dawn, and she's on a grassy knoll, and she has uh, the owl, her wisdom, on her right arm. Yes, on her right arm, and she has a little gold crown, and she's dressed in white. She has her armor is off, and she's standing there on the ground, the green verdant earth, and her shield is leaning against her left side, and there's Medusa's face. The laurel wreath that she's usually crowned with is leaned up against the shield on Medusa's cheek, on the ground, on the shield, on the ground, the laurel. And she has a little gold crown. So her her primal goddess uh, feminine wisdom energy is being consulted now. It's not a place that Athena has been, that was there when she was in Scorpio, this archetype, that journey. She's been to this journey. So it's the time to draw on something other than her bird's eye view, her intellectual understanding of what's happening, and really consult the her inner to go down into the deep a little bit. So, and I think that's Venus in Scorpio. Will be that square will be helping this archetype do that. Um, so there's a challenge to do something. That's what squares do. It's a challenge, and it demands some kind of action. And you might, it might be, it's a square, so you might move this way and you go, okay, I did that, okay, now, oh, but there's something else here, or there's something else here. There's a lot of work that happens in a square. It's very fruitful, actually. Squares are the best thing, and who'd want to have trines everywhere? I mean, it's just too easy. And where are you going to go? Well, it's fun maybe to sit in with it, with a lot of trines, but if you want to get somewhere, you're happy for the squares. So there's a challenge. Venus is going to be challenging in Scorpio, squaring the Athena archetype in Aquarius to do something, make it real, earth the intentions of her Aquarian ideals. Um, it's fine to be up there with the base, the urn is full of all this wisdom. Aquarius has that pouring down, but it's time for this archetype to earth that, to embody what those ideas, make them work to make that happen. So there's a practical application of strategic thinking that I think um, uh, Pallas Athena will, if we draw on this archetype, and I think the way we do that, and I want Kaylin to speak to this because I had so much fun with the image you pulled up, but I think the way that we do that is to understand to not be afraid of this big, grand trine and all these big planets changing, kind of change into Aries or out of energy that they've, out of Pisces or and out of places that they're comfortable in, but to understand that this is such an opportunity and there's energy here, and we can take as we leave. I think that Saturn in Pisces and Neptune back in Pisces has given us the reprieve. I think it's giving us is to take a look at the dreams we've been dreaming and the dreams that have been dreamt in the past 9,000 or 12,000 years, right? And which ones are ours? And which ones do we want to grow? So that, it's when you leave the comfort, the insulated, the waters of Pisces, the under, the in the water, and you come out in an entirely different element of fire. That can be disconcerting, but we're leaving these waters of the way things have been, a civilization, a whole everything that 9,000, 12,000 years represents. And why not just take this time, that fire? Why not just take that passion of Scorpio energy? Why not to take that creative desire, um, even erotic energy? I mean, it's powerful, and allow ourselves to think, to dream into what is coming. What do we want it to be? So I'll pass it over to you, Kaylin, and then maybe get back to Huamea and her part in this story.
Right. So I'm just going to bring it back to Chariklo and Pallas Athena quickly here too, because Chariklo is the wife of Chiron. If you haven't seen our earlier videos, we do talk a little bit more about all of that. And it turns out that she was really good friends with Pallas Athena or Athena. And interestingly, she and Chiron, so they were the couple that had to do with healing. And Chiron was more of a masculine style of healing, like what herbs, what medicines, what do you need to do? And Chariklo was more of like what do we need to heal in our emotional body? What do we need to heal in our feelings in order for us to have wholeness and health and well-being? And so they had children, and one of them was Tiresias. And Tiresias accidentally saw Athena bathing and she blinded him. And so Chariklo went to Athena and said, please restore his vision. He didn't mean this was, and so what she does is she gives him her prophetic sight but does not restore his physical sight. So it's interesting to think about, what are and prophecies, things that come true, prophetic insights and things that come true because we don't change our ways. Like if it's a negative prophecy and we don't change our ways, then that prophecy comes true. Or if it's a positive prophecy and it doesn't come true, it's because we didn't align ourselves with that prophecy. And so it's like we have this opportunity to really align our vision, and heal what's in the way of that vision coming forth through us. And then and these two don't come together that often. The Chariklo is got a 62-year cycle or some 63-year cycle, something like that. And so it won't come back to Aquarius. After it leaves Aquarius in 2027, it won't come back until 2083. It's a while before it comes back. The last time it was in Aquarius was in 1959. So it's been a while. So it went into Aquarius in 2021, and now Pallas Athena and Chariklo are coming together. They came together in the last time in 1961 in Aquarius. So they come together more often than that, but we're talking about this Aquarius piece. So that was in 1961. And it was a time when there was a lot of visioning happening in the
Mhm.
world to see how we could do this differently. How do we end the Vietnam War was going on around that time, and how do we come together for peace and love?
Mhm.
And that was starting to be in the field. So it feels like they seeded that. And this is what we have an opportunity to seed, or maybe to see some of those seeds that didn't grow then start growing now. Um, so we have on December 18th, we have Pallas Athena and Chariklo coming together for the third exact pass. Now, when they came together in 1959, they only connected once. And the reason is because Pallas Athena was not going retrograde in Aquarius. So Pallas Athena only had that one opportunity to connect with Chariklo. So here we are. We've had two already exact passes this year, and the third one coming up on December 18th, right before the new moon in Sagittarius, aligned with galactic center right
Yeah.
before the December solstice, like, whoa.
Yeah.
And the seed point of a solar year, the galactic, and really we've been in this seed point of a galactic year, a 26,000 year cycle, since we could say 1926 or 1962, if you want to look at a one degree, or 1926, if you want to look at the half a degree, or of 1962 to 2034,
Mhm.
or 1926 to 2070 is the 1 degree orb of this exact of the sun rising on the cross at galactic center, on the galactic cross near galactic center, which is massively important. It's like one of the things that's been really informing what's going on for us right now. We're at a New Year's point, a galactic year, a 26,000 year cycle point. And then we have these things that are happening. What's interesting about this time is that the comet, whatever it is. I mean, some people are saying it's a spaceship, or it's an interstellar object. We don't know what it really is necessarily. And that it's supposed to be going by the Earth, closest to the Earth on December 19th, right as Chariklo and Pallas Athena are conjunct.
Mhm.
And there's this insight that this massive whatever, they called it a comet at first, and now they're not sure, um, is dropping light codes.
Yeah. It's going to be
And
behind the sun for a while.
right, it's with the sun right now as we're doing this recording, and the thing is, they're not even 100% sure it's going to be in the same trajectory when it comes out from being with the sun. So that might shift and change, but in any case, we can just know that this is a massively important time, and that there have been. I liked how you said this earlier, Meredith. The seeds, 9,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, or maybe even longer ago than that, were seeded but never had the opportunity. They didn't have the right conditions to grow. And I was telling Meredith a story about how I was with my daughter in San Diego. I think it was in the spring of 2019. They'd had a lot of rain that winter, and we were hiking through the foothills of San Diego, and there were wildflowers everywhere, carpets of wildflowers, like stunning, most amazing. And my daughter's lived in San Diego for a really long time. She probably moved there the first time in like 2024, 2004, I mean. And she said, Mom, in all the years I've been here, I've never seen anything like this. And what I realized in that moment was those seeds had always been there. They just didn't have the right conditions. So what is waiting to be brought forth? What is waiting to emerge into our consciousness, into our awareness, into our vision, and into our possibilities that just needs the right conditions for that to happen? It's
Yes.
just such an exciting, like the possibilities, the opportunities, and sometimes we do need to tend to them, but sometimes they just bloom on their own. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm when you're talking, I was getting the image of of the shore of the ocean of waves coming and going, And there's a lot of buzz out there, a lot of fear out there about these big changes and everything falling apart, and what can we count on anymore? Or and then there's also a lot of optimism too, like, wow, it's all falling apart. We get to create. What do we want to create? And that's the direction that Kaylin and I always want to take us. And I think that with this archetype, Pallas Athena and Aquarius, that is that is her skill set, is to look at the big picture. And so, but what we want to be aware of in these changes, in these big times that are coming, a time, I mean, this is, people, my husband was saying, is it always like this? Is it always like every time you talk to me, you say, oh my gosh, another big change. Oh, this has never happened before. And no, this is the time we live in. These things have never happened before. This is a very pivotal time, where, and you could go into the astrology of it, where we are in the universe and the galactic center, and you just all the mathematics of it, just the astronomy of it, So yes, but I think what we need to, what I would like to share with you today about Pallas Athena in Aquarius, and how she's going to be um, moving out of Aquarius eventually, but she's got this time in Aquarius, and she's got these fruitful squares. And I think, to go back to what I mentioned about the ocean, because I want to bring in Huamea now. Um, so I just wanted to say the image that I got when you were talking, Kaylin, was that these are big tides, and they can be like tidal waves. And we can't say, oh well, that's just a big wave. Like, no, that's a tidal wave. And so we have strategies, intelligent strategies to meet that. And one of them is to not is to realize that okay, it could be a little wave or it could be a tidal wave, but the way it works in our oceanic, model that we have, which is so beautiful, this big beautiful ocean, is that the waves come in, but they don't just stay. They don't keep coming in. They come in, and then they meet the shore, and they move. They move. They are pulled back out into the oceanic again, and then they come in, and then they're pulled out. So it's important that we have strategies of rest, health, um, resting our mind in particular, our nervous systems, because this energy is going to be big. And then I'm going to bring in Huamea, because Huamea is has a 25-year cycle, and she was in Libra in uh, 92, 94, I think we said, and then she's moved into Scorpio, um, and moving into Scorpio, Huamea is the creatrix. She is Mother Gaia. She is first cause. She created um, she visualized births, created. I mean, she's the mother of Pele in Hawaiian. She's the, I can't pronounce the name, but she's the mother of Pele's sister, who's the ocean. She's the mother of the ocean, and those two together, Pele's fire meets the ocean, and the ocean cools the Pele's fire and creates something new, bursts something new, creates land. So Huamea, I mean, if you want to take a fun little mythological dive, and you just want to go and just escape into some lovely, and more than lovely, but interesting stories about Hawaiian mythology, in particular Huamea. So Huamea will be in Scorpio, will be squaring the archetypal energies of Pallas Athena and Aquarius. But there again is that square. And she brings to it's an assist almost for Aquarian energy, which I would never describe as an equenergy of an energy of the erotic or desire, or or passion. Yeah, intellectual passion, but physical passion, the that fire, that creative fire, that's not her forte. But if this archetype can take the creative intelligence, and her skill set, the skill set of this archetypal energy, Aquarius, I mean Athena and Aquarius, she can take the skill set of strategic thinking, and she can uh, allow herself to get some skin in the game, and to hold the desire, the passion of what can be created, of what dream, she's not associated with dreams, but really what are the ideas, let's put it that way, that we can dream into reality. How do we want this world to look? Yes, it's all falling down. Yes, it's a big hot mess. Get used to it. And also, we were born in this time, so we do have, we can tap, we're here for a reason. So let's use our creative intelligence, our strategic thinking, not disappear and see, okay, it's all going to play out eventually, but just ask, what's my part? And your part might be just as simple as keeping your body healthy, um, dreaming a dream, holding an idea of what can be, instead of getting swamped, and go back to the tidal wave energy again, swamped by a huge tidal wave that just takes you right under, and you spend a lot of time with your head down in the sand. We don't really, I mean, what fun is that? It's not very useful. Eventually you'll get out of it, but we don't need to do that. So if we trust that this energy, this creation energy of Huamea is here, it's one of the big energies that Kaylin was talking about. It's here. And it's here for a reason. It's because we are on the threshold of a new dream, a new reality, of actually creating a new civilization. Now, wouldn't that be fun to think about? I mean,
And
I feel like
one
just,
has to come down before the new one can come in. And that's why we're seeing the collapse that's
yeah.
going on around us. Is it needs to happen. You got to tear down the old house before you can build a new one. It's just
Right.
part of the deal. Yeah.
So the big question is, and Humea is asking this question, um, what what is it that we want to give birth to? In this Scorpio, she'll be in this energy for the next 25 years. So she'll be activating Scorpio, transits, and she's basically in Scorpio. What needs to be
3 years
regenerated?
because she went into Scorpio in
23,
2023. Yeah. So she's already been there a couple years.
got a 25-year cycle, but she's,
Yeah.
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 So what needs to be regenerated in these next 23 years? So that's this Pallas Athena archetype in Aquarius. Her challenge is to use everything that she has. And Kaylin, will you please share um, the thoughts, words, and actions, the
Yeah.
creative? Yeah.
And I would just want to say too, before I share that, is that Pallas Athena, when you and I, Meredith, started working with Pallas Athena and going through the cycle, was when she was in her Scorpio cycle. So,
Yes.
which was in 2023. And so she was with Haumea then, or yeah, Huamea, I guess is probably how I should say that.
Mhm.
And and so they've already had this connection. That was when they were conjunct. And now they're in the square to each other. It's like, how are they activating each other to get things done? And then Pallas Athena went into Aquarius in February of this year. It doesn't go into Pisces until January of 2026. So it's been in Aquarius for a long time. That's why it's why we refer to it as the Aquarius cycle. Part of why we refer to it as that. So anyway, but and the thing about Aquarius is that it is about what we think and how our thoughts and our words and our actions create our reality. And we could put our feelings in there as well, because if we're not feeling passionate about it, if we're not feeling inspired, we might not take the actions needed to bring it into form. But first, we need to have the idea, the vision, see the possibility, and speak into it in a way that that we're not blocking it, but that we're actually helping to bring it into form. And having been in a priestess process since 1995, we were one of the things we were told, and it was helpful, but of course we all forgot, is that when you set an intention, anything in the way of that intention comes up to get cleared. And so sometimes it's not easy because we have beliefs or we have things that are in the way, and those things need to get cleared to get out of the way so that the thing can come into form. And that really does happen. I've had it happen to me so many times. It's like, oh, I thought I was intending this thing thinking this was going to happen and then this happened and it wasn't what I was thinking at all, but it led to the thing that I was really thinking in a better way than I could have imagined it in the first place. So allowing for those things to happen, not fighting them, not resisting them, but allowing that clearing process to take place if it needs to take place, so that those visions and through our thoughts, words, and actions, we do need to take action to make it happen. Um, and that I think with the zero Aries conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in February, that is the zero alpha point. That is the actional point. And it's like we're going to then really be required to take more action in 2026. I think right now we're kind of in that preparation phase, but to really act on the visions and the seeds that we're planting and all the things that we've been doing this last year and really last many years.
Right. Well, it's good to know what you're pull the tools out of your toolbox. So what you mentioned, thought, words, and action. That's creation. That's a creation formula. Thoughts, words, and action. So thinking of how you want things to be, speaking that into reality, and then acting on it. This isn't new age. This is core. This is how the world works. This is how the organic world works. And also, if you want to look back into the Upanishads or you look in the Bible or whatever, there are stories of creation stories or thoughts, and then speaking it, and
The
then it
word,
becomes
yes,
act.
yes.
So if this is a good time, I wanted to give a shout out to Kelly Hunter, who has a podcast on Huamea, and it inspired me to go back into that. So Kelly Hunter, look up that podcast on Huamea. I think it's like maybe we can put it in the notes.
Yeah.
Um, and then also, I want to give a shout out to Martha Hines also. I was watching her and Ari Mochi Wolf talking about the Pisces energy in our charts. Um, these energies. It was their latest podcast, but she was echoing, and something she said was echoing what Kelly Hunter was talking about Huamea, and that is um, the the incoming waves of change, and that there is a birthing that's happening, and she brought in Pluto. Pluto is the energy of transformation, and with Pluto in Aquarius and Pallas Athena in Aquarius, this is a time where deep transformation can happen, and that for the next 3 months, this is with a Huamea connection. Um, will be a gestation period where Pluto and not Pluto, Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces in the last degrees. So we're in this little gestation period, um, and then we have two other big energies that are pulling us back, continually pulling us back into the deeper waters, and specifically Uranus, who's going back into Taurus. And so that's like, oh God, not again, the heaviness. I love the Gemini, what's going on, but no, this is purposeful, because in that image of the ocean, so Uranus and Pluto are pulling us back, and the wave comes in, and then we get pulled back, and then something comes in on the shore again, and we get to experience that, and react with it and interact with it. So this pulling back, being drawn back in, and then sometimes spit out on the shore, sometimes just surfing the whitewater, out there with your boogie board going woohoo. I mean, it can be either or, it can be either and, it can be and or. I mean, so take this time to, I would say, if it's going to give any advice to myself, anybody, um, if I was going to say what's important, what I think it's important for me to do is to clear out, to look at my old thinking, look out at anything outworn, anything that no longer serves me. Um, a dream that maybe I inherited from my grandparents, or the culture I was born into, the age or history that I know, to clear that out, and and not let that be defining my thinking or how I run the matrix of my programming, right? Take a look at the programming and be ready. Say, I don't believe that. No, that doesn't, it never really worked for me and it sure doesn't work now. And they just go, okay. And so catch yourself when you're having a thought that comes from an old dream or an old belief. And then,
Or an old limiting belief,
yeah,
especially an old limiting belief.
absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. Totally. So that you're making some room for the new energies to be birthed. So, if nothing else, like I might paint a wall in my living room, because I mean, and as I'm painting that wall, whenever it'll be like, okay, that's the old and this is the new. I mean, that's just a simple, I mean, you can be small steps, tiny steps, just like, I've always wanted to move that painting over here or the couch. I've always wanted to hear, just sometimes just putting your body in. I mean, it can be small steps, but if they're intentional, and I'm also going to shout out Sheridan for this, right? In her Moon Sisters work. If your small steps are intentional, each little small step leads to that bigger, the whole shift in the bigger picture that you're going for. So it doesn't have to be so big that we're going through. So self-care, self-love, baby steps. You were born for this time. You got this. And get some skin in the game.
Well, and we've all, yeah, we definitely wanted to be here and we got to be here because there were a lot of other souls that also wanted to be here who didn't get to be here. So we need to value the gift that we have been given. And I want to just also speak to Uranus and Taurus. All the unexpected events that come, that Uranus will disrupt the old ways. And the challenge is that Taurus has been seen not as its true pure essence. The true pure essence of Taurus is that we are living in the pleasure. We should be, and ideally are living in the pleasure paradigm. And that has been kept from us. And so, how do we, again, allow ourselves to experience the pleasure of what it means to be in this life, in this body, to embody this, to bring the love, to bring the gratitude, to bring the appreciation for the gift we have been given. And I think if we can do that as a collective, then we'll change everything like that. So it's the power of love, the power of gratitude and appreciation, and so we have this until April of next year to do that and to really make these changes, and they could be quick.
Yeah.
Taurus doesn't usually like to move quick, but hey, it was 7 years and it's been 7 years in Taurus.
Yeah.
And Uranus does like to move quick. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like saying hallelujah past the hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So hopefully this has been inspiring for you. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up, Meredith?
Oh gosh, no, except that I check out Martha Hines and her talk on Pisces through your houses. As all this Pisces, Saturn's dip back into Pisces and Neptune's dip back into Pisces. That's a fruitful place to explore. Check out that one. And then also anything Kelly Hunter, and she is this Saturday doing a all-day workshop in Boston. And if you look her up, it's inexpensive, like $37, whatever, to get on a Zoom link. If you want to see her talk more about Huamea from this little talk that I saw that I've been referencing. Yeah, that's about it. Just yeah, keep
Yes,
on
so
keeping
we'll
on.
we'll put links in the show notes and just hopefully this is inspiring. Hopefully this is something that ignites your own desire to be more co-creatively active in this a massive massively changing time and that we get to be a part of that and how fortunate and how blessed we are for that. So much love and blessings to everyone.
Yeah, bye.